So this is content that connects. I'm going to help you to engage your online collectors. So a real quick introduction of myself. Who am I? My name is Pam Baumeister. I've been a watercolorist since 1999 and in media and marketing since 2000. So these are just a few of the things that I've done. I've done radio, morning radio. I've also done traffic, which is actually harder than you think. I've been in advertising and PR. My husband and I ran an agency for 4 years, a marketing director, and I also have been an editor-in-chief and associate publisher of a regional magazine for women here in Utah. So I just really want to quickly tell you that content builds relationships, and relationships are built on trust. I mean, just think about the people that you love, that you want to talk to, that when you watch a movie that you love, the first people you think to share with, those are the people that you trust. And that trust is what drives the revenue. So this is a content marketing expert. He's not an artist, but I'm telling you right now, I'm an artist and I understand this principle works as well for artists as it does for almost any other business. Art business is just slightly different. We are selling a feeling. So it's really something that the world needs right now. I think a lot of people are feeling pretty sad and pretty scared, honestly. And so we are influencers. As artists, we are influencers, and we can light the world really with that influence and with our innate ability to share that light through whatever we create. So sharing that light through the content that you create, not only the art that you create, but the words that you create. So I'm going to share this 4-step process with you. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen and you want to just take some notes, that's fine. I am going to share this information with you later too. But I'm going to walk you through an exercise as well. So first, the 4-step process is, first you have to have an idea. Next, you need to dig deep. Third, you need to define. Fourth, write it out. And fifth, edit. Really, it says a 4-step process. There's 5 things on there. But the idea comes before the process. So we'll start there. All right. So this is the idea that I'm going to have you all work on today. Okay? So think about this. What do people say about your art? So right now, on your paper or in your notepad on your phone or wherever you can write down, what do people say about your art? Just take a couple seconds, write down what people say about your art. And don't use your own words, only use words that you've heard people say. And I can see you all looking down, so I know you're working on it. Okay. Does everybody kind of feel like they have a list of things that they know what people say about their art? And it can be even what like your mom says, right? Or your Aunt Susie, or or even, just your friends. Tell us write that down. Okay. The next one is to dig deep. So you're not going to be able to do this right now, but I have told those of you who get my emails, and I think that's most of you, to request a quick interview or conversation with your collectors if you haven't had one already. And in that conversation, you can ask them what they think or how they feel about your art. And then record what they say. You can either write it down, or you can get their permission, of course, to record a conversation or do one of these Zoom calls. These work great. And I've done this many, many times. So when I first started doing collector interviews, I actually took them out to eat. And I wouldn't suggest that as a sustainable model because it can get expensive, but it's a really great way to get to know your collectors. So this collector, she and I were in a kind of a noisy restaurant, and I recorded what she said, and she just with my phone. And it was a great way for me to understand how she felt about my art. She hired me to paint this picture for her husband. And so I got to know her a little bit better, and I did that fairly frequently. And then I found Zoom and realized that Zoom was much cheaper than taking people out to eat. But even so, it's great to see people in person and talk to them in person. So the next step, let's see if I can get this, is to define. So what's the most important element or the most important point from that conversation. Now, if you've had a conversation with one of your collectors, then you kind of maybe have that in your head. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what the main point is. And if there's lots of points, that's great. That's awesome. That will give you lots and lots and lots and lots of fodder for future things to write. So you can list them out. In fact, I want you to do that right now. List out some of the things that you've had as a conversation, what those main points, maybe even just highlight or circle the things you think are the main points of, or pick one. Just pick one. You can circle them all and then pick one of the things they've said about your art. Okay. So this is from a text from the other day. This was something that a collector sent to me. And I thought, wow, she's given me a ton of great feedback. She said I was thoughtful and connecting, and that I captured the true personality and mood. There's a lot of information here. Okay. It's a short text, but there's a lot of information. So these are the kinds of things that if you're communicating with your collectors on a regular basis, you're going to get this kind of feedback. And I hope you do. So the next thing you need to do is you want to get all your thoughts down first. You don't edit yourself. You just write. So you're going to write and write and write until you've written everything. And I don't think we have a ton of time because this is a short amount of time that we're together. But I want you to just take a minute. I'll even set the timer. Take a minute and write how you would express that one key point that you circled. That one key point. How would you express that? And don't edit yourself. Don't even worry about grammar, punctuation. None of that stuff matters right now. I'm going to set the timer. 1 minute. Write. And if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Let's see, it looks like I have some chat questions here. And now Dorothy asked me, you express it to the collectors, express it to who? Just express it like you're expressing it to a friend. You're just telling a friend about this thing that people feel about your art. Okay, a friend. Because your collectors really should be your friends. And they are. Okay, there's your timer. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go to the next step here. Just get out of my chat here. The trouble with these things is that you can't even see where your cursor is when you're sharing your screen. So give me a second. That's funny. Okay. All right, so next, there's a lot of steps here. So don't feel overwhelmed. So I want you to read out what you have written. Read it out loud. And since you're all muted, we can't hear you, so it's not going to be like a herd of cats talking at the same time. So just read it out loud and listen for stuff that really just feels good. Okay, so now you're going to trim out the unnecessary stuff. I'm going to do this for a second. Sorry, guys. I can't close this window. There we go. Okay. Now, I want you to think about what your collector has said. Now, since you may not have had an interview with them, you won't be able to use their words right now. But when you're writing out whatever you're going to write, then you want to use their words as much as possible. So if they use words that are different than yours, like, well, you saw that one, she said connecting and capturing the mood. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that stuff. I don't really ever talk like that. But when you're writing this, you want to use those collector words as much as possible because that's how they talk. Okay. So I'm also going to let you know that sometimes this takes a lot longer when you're first starting, but you'll get better the more you practice it. And here's another great thing. Get a friend to look at it for you. If they're an artist, that's even better. But if not, it doesn't matter. Ask them to look at what you've written before you post it. It's super, super helpful. I always ask, or I try to always ask somebody to look over my stuff. In fact, as an editor, former editor, every single writer, doesn't matter how good the writer is, they always need an editor. An editor is so important. Okay, so now take a look at what you've written and what you've got on your page, and maybe it looks like a bunch of scribbles, and maybe it's not finished. But I'm going to show you how to use that awesome content, because by the time you get it pared down, by the time you get it read and edited and it's in your voice and it feels comfortable like you're talking to a friend, and it feels like it hits the right notes. Do you know what I'm saying? Nod your head if you know what I mean. It hits the right notes. It feels good. Once you've done that, I'm going to show you how you can use your awesome content. And these might seem obvious, but just think about it, because maybe there's something here that you haven't quite maximized. Obviously, almost all of us are on Instagram. I think most of us are, right? You know about the profile thing. You know a little bit maybe about stories. Your stories are the little blue plus next to your little icon at the top of your profile. And then IGTV, which is this little thing you see right above my grid. There's a little kind of a rounded box that has the two, it looks like a TV set. Okay, that's IGTV. I'm not going to go into it today. And maybe if you guys want to respond to my survey once this is over, then I will hear what you guys want me to cover more the next time I do this. But those are all ways you can use this content, okay? And I know some of you have a blog, but I have this is a little video of my blog, so you can see this is a lot of information. So you're going to create this content, and when you put it on your blog, you're going to want to add internal links, and I'm going to try and point it out when it comes up. So see right here is where it says custom watercolors, and it's got a little green underline. That is an internal link that people can click on that goes right to my collection, right to my commission page. Okay? So when you write your blogs, don't send them hither and yon outside your blog, but create an internal link that just goes to the page that they can buy stuff, right? And use the words that they'll know that that's where they're going. So my word was custom watercolors or whatever, I can't even remember now. But you can see this is a long blog. This is information I collected. I always collected lots of information because I do mostly commissions. So it might be a little bit more challenging for people who don't do commissions, but that's why you need to get out there and just talk to people who've collected your stuff. So that's another place you can use your content. And you could also use your content in your emails. So this is an email that I sent recently to my collectors. And the subject was sick of hearing about coronavirus. I think I was trying not to be too flippant about it because it is a serious thing, but I think most of us do want to have some other sunshine in our life besides all the negativity that's happening. So I sent people this email and I pointed them to that blog that I just showed you, okay? I was talking about miracles and I was talking about how everyone's overcome something in their life. And this woman who hired me, this collector, she had overcome health problems to have these triplets. In fact, I don't know if you read that, but she actually had her sister-in-law be her surrogate. They implanted four fertilized eggs and 3 survived. And that's how she got her triplets, which I think is a miracle. So there you go. That's how I shared it. So you might think that when you post your stuff, you feel like you don't really hear back. You don't really get any feedback. You don't know who's engaged and who's not. And you're just wondering if you're like a tree in the forest and you're asking this question. Is anyone out there? I'm telling you, the engagement is key. Now, this is one of my most engaging posts, and I don't know if any of you know how to find that information, but you can find it on your insights. If your Instagram account is not a business account, you won't be able to see any insights at all. But if you have a business account, you can see insights. You can go inside the insights and you can see what's the one that had the most engagement. Engagement is key. You want people to feel those emotions that you felt when you were writing the stuff, okay? Or when you were sharing this information. So I told you I would help you with organizing your time and not to spend it all on marketing. So really quickly, I want to share this. And this is actually something I'm going to send out to you all. This is very abbreviated because I'm still figuring out Keynote. So I can't show you the full thing. Actually, maybe I will. Let me see if I can share my screen in a different way. Give me a second here. Well, let me just show you this really quickly. And then if I have time, I can show you that graph. So this is a low-tech system. It's just a grid, and I'll share it with you, and you guys can copy it and paste it and use it all day long. So first, on the left side of the grid, I guess it would be over here. On the left side of the grid is all your topics, okay? Once you get enough interviews with enough collectors, you're gonna kind of get a theme. You're gonna kind of see a theme of these topics, okay? So my topics would be like, why are they commissioning me? Or how did they find, like, what drew them to commissioning me? What was the emotion they felt? Another topic might be a collector's story, like that story that I just shared about the woman who couldn't have babies and got a surrogate to have her children. Okay, that's a story that's interesting. And then, so those are some of my topics. Then you're going to list along the top the days of the week, and then I also put in, this is just for instance, you can change it, where I would post, okay? And then in the outline, I put a little tiny snippet, a basic outline of what that content's gonna be, so that I know. So if you wanna plan a week ahead, or you wanna plan a month ahead, or you wanna just plan for the day before, that's exactly how you would do it. You can also include a note in that grid of which picture you're gonna share. The other tool that I use a lot with like Instagram is this tool called Planoly. I don't know how many of you use it, raise your hand, or just type it in the chat. Planoly is helpful because you can see like visually how it's all gonna lay out, and then your messages will naturally fall into place. So I'm gonna share that with you guys I'll put that in the chat. And now I'm gonna open it up to questions. I'm gonna stop sharing. Let's see, I can figure out. And oh, good grief. I am trying to stop sharing. Let's see. Too bad I can't see my darn, there we go. I think I stopped sharing. Oh. And now, there we are. Okay, can everybody see me okay? Can everybody hear me? I'm gonna open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, okay, so let's see. Leslie said four-step process for what? Leslie, did that question get answered? It was a 4-step process for writing content that connects. And yes, people do use blogs. Sue asked, do people still use blogs a lot? And I believe they do. And it's a great way to build your authority on Google. So when people are searching for you, and if you're using the blog and you're using keywords that people would naturally try to find you with, like those are buying keywords. Like for me, it would be commission an artist, or commission an artist near me, or watercolor artist for hire, how to commission an artist. That's a huge one for me. Original art, buy original art. Those kinds of phrases, those kinds of things, those are what you would want to use. And that's the reason why you use blogs. Blogs are not necessarily like to make you famous. You know how back several years ago, there were like the mommy bloggers that became really popular. It's not really, it's a different landscape now. But yeah, blogs are definitely important for your website. Anybody else have any other questions? I can unmute you all if you want to. Looks like I just barely admitted people. I don't know why I had them waiting, but does anybody else have any other questions? I'm going to unmute everybody. And ooh. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Did you just get in here?
Well,
Can you hear me?
trying for a while, but yeah.
I'm so sorry. Well, I'm sending a recording out, so you won't miss it.
No worries.
Anyway.
That sounds good.
Who else has a question? Anyone?
I just got here.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, I just got here too.
Sue, so great to see you. Oh, hi, Cora.
Hi Pam.
I'm going to send out information, but I'm going to actually I'm going to send out this recording first of all, so you don't have to worry about missing anything.
Okay.
And then I'm going to send this in the chat. Can everybody see? This is kind of a crazy long link, but everybody click on that.
Okay. Oops,
And
it
that
disappeared.
Oh, it disappeared. Click on your
For
chat
me-
again.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
I did see it for like 3 seconds and then it just disappeared.
I'm going to send it one more time.
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, I'm holding my finger on it.
Just click on it. I'm going to show you what it looks like just so you all can see it. I'll do my screen share quick. And okay, so here's what it looks like. It's just a Google Doc. I just made a Google Doc for you guys. This is the whole thing that we just barely talked about. The process to writing is kind of like writing an essay, but it's not for a grade. You're writing from your heart and you're trying to connect with people. So I gave you a sample question, just a sample idea, and then I walk you through 4 steps of how to write for connecting online.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And then I have a little snippet here that I didn't add, that we didn't talk about in our webinar, but I talked about how to grow the list, your list. I'm talking about your email list. And I could probably cover this an entire hour and still not cover everything. But some of the things you want to do is you want to share consistently. You want to give somebody something to take away, some reason to engage with you online. Coupon code or information. I made a document called How to Commission an Artist. And for those people who want to commission me, that's a valuable information, right? So if you're going to give them information, make it something that actually has meaning for hiring you or buying your stuff. Promoting your email list with a link on your social media profile is a great way to grow your list as well. And you can edit your profile as much as often as you want to, your social media. As I'm talking about Instagram mostly. I think that's where most everybody does it. And then once in a while, it's okay to reach out to people and say, hey, subscribe to my email list. You can do like a quick video. I actually put it on all of my my signature lines on my emails. Get more information and subscribe. And then at the bottom of your emails, it's great to do a little PS. Actually, Bobby Heath, who's in this call, she was actually the one who told me about this. At the bottom of your emails, it's great to do a PS, because don't you always read the PS? I always read the PS. It's hard not to, right? And you add a PS and you say, hey, if you know anyone who would like my art or who would want this information, forward this to a friend and then include a link for them to subscribe for themselves. So that's information that I didn't really talk about before, but that's information that will help you. And then at the bottom.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
Does it matter what kind of email you have? Like I just have a Gmail email. Does it have to be more professional? You know what I'm saying? With a business name on it rather than gmail.com on the end, or does that matter so much?
Well, I guess it kind of depends, because I personally think that if you are a professional artist and you want to be seen as a professional artist, you should probably have a professional email address. But, and getting people to sign up for your list, it's really easy to manage your list if you're using a system. There are free email systems. I mean, I used MailChimp for years, and I just barely switched to Aweber, which you have to pay for, but it's much easier once you learn it to manage everything. So
Okay.
that's what I would suggest.
Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else have any other questions? I have this whole thing. I'm going to send this whole thing to you guys. See how long this document is. And
Awesome.
and this is the organize your time thing. Okay. I was just talking about this at the very end. So you got your post on your left side. This is how I would do it. So my topics are going to be different than your topics, but I have, my topics are here. I'm going to mute everybody because we're getting some feedback here. Let's see. Give me a second. I don't know if I can. Sorry, guys. I'm a slow learner when it comes to learning right on the fly. So I have no idea. In fact, everybody just mute yourselves. I can't mute everybody. But let me just go over this really quick, especially for those people who just barely joined us. So when you use this grid, and you don't have to, you can adjust it however you want and however often you like to post. I mean, if you like to post every single day, then expand it out. So I put my topics on the left side where it says commissions, inspiration, process of creation, and collector stories. Okay. And then I plan out when during the week I'm going to share it. So like Monday, I'll just put it on an Instagram post and I'll add it to my story. You know, that's really easy to add your Instagram post to your story. Once you post, there's a little thing that looks like a paper airplane, it's like a triangle. You just tap that, and then it says, it gives you an option to send it to people or add to my story. Then you just click add to my story, and it will put it into your story. It's really, really easy. So I just wrote a little snippet of what I was going to talk about. It's not the full post, but it's just a little hint for myself. And then on Wednesday, I would blog maybe. And then also when I hit publish on my blog, I have an option to share it on Facebook. So that's why I put blog plus Facebook. And I would talk about inspiration. On Thursday, I would send an email list out. I would send an email to my list. And to Cora's question, Cora, the only way you're going to know who's on your list is if you use some sort of way to manage it all. And I think it's actually easier if you manage it through a system like MailChimp or Aweber, or there's a lot of different systems out there that you can manage your email list. And then, of course, the IGTV, I don't know how many of you use IGTV? No? Okay.
I haven't yet.
It is actually quite a lot easier than you think. And it can bring you a lot of people that are not following you. It's a video that's longer than a minute. So if you have a video that's longer than a minute, then you can put it on IGTV. And then you also have a place when you tap your little plus button and you add a video, if it's longer than a minute, it will instantly pop up to IGTV and it'll say short video, long video, or short, I can't remember. Let me look at my phone. Short video or long video. And if you pick long video, then it will instantly go into IGTV.
Okay, great. It's good to know.
So I'm going to send out a quick survey after we hang up. But are there any last minute questions that anybody has about any of the stuff I've shared?
What did you not like about the Chimp emailer? Something Chimp?
MailChimp?
Yeah. Why did you leave MailChimp and go to the Aweber?
The reason is because I wanted to have a little bit more robust way of dividing out my my email lists and tagging and setting up campaigns. And also MailChimp is so often used that I think a lot of email service providers flag them as junk And I think that you want to have all of your emails delivered. I don't know that it's always, Bobby's shaking her head no. I don't know that it's always necessarily true, but I wanted to have a more robust system. So that's why I chose to go to Aweber.
Okay.
Let's see, Bobby asks, how does your blog relate to your emails to your list? Okay, so when you're writing a blog, my blog is, I try to make my blogs fairly robust, okay? So there's a lot of information. So when I send out an email, I only take like the key points, and that key point is like what they would call a meta description in the marketing world. And a meta description is it's usually about, I think it's about 35 words. Now don't quote me on that because I can't remember, but a meta description is about 35 words that Google uses to classify the information that you're sharing. So a lot of times I'll use those 35 words that I use to describe my blog and use that as the beginning of my email to my email list. And then sometimes some people like to just include the very beginning of the blog and say, read more, go here, or whatever. So that's one way to do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but that's an easy way to do it. And then you don't have to write much more because you've already written it all. Are there any more questions? And if you guys need to leave, feel free to pop out. I'll send everyone an email with a recap and a video of this so that you can follow along. But if there are any
Pam, you're
questions,
so kind to do this. Thank you so much for doing this.
you're welcome.
Taking your time to help us, really. Thank you.
I think it's much needed, and I think that this is such a great time for all of us to learn how to market online because everyone's online right now. No one's going out. In fact, I'm looking at my street. There's no cars on the street. It's kind of eerie, actually. So
Yeah.
share
And
your
Pam,
joy. Go ahead.
do you think it's important for us to do like all of it, like the stories, the IGTV, and then the little blurb on our page, or which is the most effective that you see? Just like a little. To me, it's so much effort, and so much emotion for me to just like write up a thing, and then I'm like, okay, done with that, and then the time, like it takes a lot out of me. To share, it's supposed to be personal, and it probably when people look at it, it doesn't even seem that personal. But I'm so private that, like, for me to just even like share that, it's like takes a lot. So, what's the best way to? I want to,
Right.
share.
Here's what I suggest: start where you're comfortable. Just start where you're comfortable. You don't have to do it all. I was showing you all of the options, but pick one and get really, really good at that one thing. And be consistent. If you're going to choose Instagram as your blogging tool, then just be consistent. Just have your followers understand that you're always going to post on, Tuesday and Thursday. And you don't even have to say that, but just be consistent. But pick one thing and get really good at it. And don't worry about covering all the bases. You really don't have to worry about that. Just start. And I think just starting to write, honestly, Dorothy, just getting in the practice of writing your thoughts is really, really helpful, because that will make it easier and less scary and not make you feel like, I just eviscerated myself on the paper and I'm so exhausted.
I say too much. It's a song. Leslie's going to write a song about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Or not enough.
I know. Sometimes it's like, I think people really like to hear your honest thoughts. And if they don't want to hear your honest thoughts, they're probably not your people.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does anybody, go ahead. Somebody
so
else have a question?
Then that the blogging can be right on Instagram. It's not like I don't have a website, so it's not like I need a website to do this.
You don't necessarily need to have a website to connect with people. It's important eventually to have a website, especially if you want to sell online, because that's where people go. And to sell on Instagram is a little bit more complicated if you don't have a website. But for now, just start there and just start, what they call, microblogging.
Actually, Pam,
Go ahead.
I've actually sold probably more pieces on Instagram, or as many pieces on Instagram as I have through my website.
Yay!
So
That's so awesome.
And it's,
Yeah.
but I think it's more people, if they get to know you and connect with you and trust you, that if they're going to Venmo you money, you're actually going to send them the painting.
Yeah.
I think the website is more like people automatically trust kind of a website that, if you buy something, you'll get it,
Yeah.
But so if you can build a trust with your audience, I think they're more likely to buy from you. But I don't, one over the other. I mean, you just got to see what works for you, I think.
Yeah. And here's interesting. It's so awesome, Katie, that you have really killed it. I've watched what you've been doing, and it's so great to see other artists succeed. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I get so excited when I see other artists succeed. And the other thing is but we don't own Instagram.
Oh yeah.
We don't own Instagram. We don't know where it's going to go. And so it is very important to have your own platform and to have your own email list. Like Cora was asking about email service providers. It's important to have those people because you might have, 20,000 followers on Instagram or 5,000 followers on Instagram or even 500 followers on Instagram. If Instagram goes away or becomes a paid platform,
yeah,
where are those people going to go? So I think it's important to kind of simultaneously build it. And that's what's interesting about this time right now that we're living, this historical time. It's a brave new world, right? We are in this, it's going to be this epic change. There's already huge changes. I mean, look at us. We're all in this room together. We've got 12 people in this room talking about this. And it's so cool. I mean, I feel totally energized by it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like pumped about it. And so things are going to change. Your relationships with galleries is going to change. They're suffering right now. And so if you can get a grasp and take some time while you have this time and you're not going out to eat and you're not doing all the stuff you used to do, take that time to say, okay, for an hour a day, I'm going to work on my online marketing. I'm going to work on building a website or researching I'm just going to ask questions and find out more information. This is a great time to do it because we have the time. I mean, that's just the fact. It's a silver lining, right? I mean, So does anybody else have any burning questions that they want to ask me? We've gone a little over time, but I don't mind because I know that there's a lot of questions out there that artists are wondering about. So
where would you put your blog link? Just in your profile of your Instagram?
Mm-hmm. You can put it there. When I post a new blog, I will put my blog link there. More importantly than having people read my blog, I want them to join my email list. So I more than often put I use a service called Lead Pages, and that's where you guys all saw my webinar information. So and that's a paid service, but MailChimp and Aweber both have a form of landing page. You can send people to some place to get something, and you can even, I know Squarespace has a free pop-up service that you can have pop up on a specific page and say, sign up for my email list and you can get, 20% off. I mean, I try not to discount my work at all, ever, except it's very worth it to me to discount my work for someone to subscribe to my email list because they're a captive audience, right? I mean, you email them multiple times about multiple things. And eventually, if they love your stuff, they're eventually going to buy, right? I think it's 8 to 10 times people have to see things before they buy. It's what they say in advertising. So does that answer your question, Cora?
Yes, it does. Thank you. That's great.
Anybody else have any other questions? Don't be shy. Well, if no one else has any questions, hey, that was awesome. if nobody else has any questions, I just want to thank you. What your son is very cute, Cora. That was adorable. Thank you for that little moment of joy. Oh, we're all home trying not to drive each other crazy. I have a teenager at my house too.
Yes.
It's a challenge for everyone, but this is a great time. If you have a teenager at your house, ask them for help with figuring out technical stuff.
No kidding.
Put them
Oh my
to
God.
work. This is a great time.
Yeah,
for
if
that.
they're doing school all online, right? They should
Yep.
be knowing how to do a lot of some tech support stuff for mom, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so, okay. I just wanted to let you know that, that I really appreciate your time today. It's been so fun to share this information, and I hope it was helpful for you. I'm going to send out a quick survey after this is over, and also send that Google Doc if you didn't download it or if you didn't get it. I'll send it again in an email. And then if you have any other questions, you guys, you can reach me at pam@pambaumeister.com. And
Okay.
I just wanted to say thanks again. Stay healthy.